Hello there and welcome to another live chapter reading for Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Today I shall be reading from Bovine Tricks, Royals Gone Rogue Book 1 by Seelie K. Chapter 1. When the Lady is a Cow. Matilda Honoria Spencer, called Tilly for short, placed her binoculars on a nearby rock and took a long sip of water from the sports bottle. In a posh British accent, she said softly, "I don't know, sir. The only humans I see are men. Farm workers, I suppose. Haven't seen a single female. Except for cows, that is." She giggled. "And I couldn't tell a male cow from a female. I was raised in Gunnersbury. The only cows there were middle-aged women." Tilly intentionally spoke distinctly. There was no hint of her youth spent in a working-class neighbourhood that dropped T's and H's as a matter of course. Tilly had worked hard to refine her speech, and had learned to speak in the polished Queen's English. Her latent Cockney accent came to light only in times of extreme stress or when she was undercover. Her earpiece squawked, "Well, as it happens, you are looking for human cows, female ones. Did you not understand the assignment?" Tilly grimaced at the offence to her ears. The new communications devices MI6 used were groundbreaking, but the squeaks and squawks delivered to her inner ear were most unpleasant. She blamed it more on the careless user than the device. She tapped on her earpiece. "Take that, you wanker. I know what was reported, but all of my research points to the big old modern-day fantasy. Human cows are a myth." "They have to be. There is no other explanation. Someone is pulling our legs." She sighed. "What a waste of our time." She picked up her binoculars again. "I'll give it another hour, then I'm coming in." The man at command grunted. "Actually, Agent Spencer, after an hour you'll be taking a closer look. You will sneak onto the farm and investigate. We have a confirmed report that there are Hugh cows on the premises, and one of them is a member of the royal family. The firm wants her found and extracted as soon as possible. It is our sworn duty as members of MI6. I think MI5 is better suited for something like this." Tilly's voice assumed a bit of snark. "After all, it's domestic. We are only responsible for international activities that threaten our citizens. This certainly does not apply." Tilly was well aware her tone was bitchy, but for crying out loud, here she was in the middle of Devon watching cows. She was much better suited to issues involving international sex slave trafficking and other forms of forced servitude. While rescuing members of the royal family had become her speciality, operating on domestic soil was risky. Given her fondness for high society events, she could be recognised and her cover would be blown. "Except this is right up your alley. We suspect it is about slave trafficking, and it is international. If what has been reported is true, this farm is operated by an American corporation that specialises in trafficking young women in the fetish world, in particular human cows, pigs, cats, dogs and even horses. Their buyers come from around the world. When matters cross borders, it falls within our jurisdiction." Tilly scrunched her nose. "Why do we always get the cases that are so repugnant? If people are interested in screwing animals, why don't they just—" "Because, Agent Spencer, bestiality or animal abuse is a crime. However, there is nothing criminal about humans who dress up as animals and engage in sordid activities based on fantasy. That is, unless they are forced into it to satisfy someone's prurient interests. In the case of Lady Annabel Trask, we do not know if her participation is voluntary. We have heard that she has undergone a rather extreme physical transformation, possibly in America. That may be a crime. We may be looking at a case of involuntary maiming and mutilation." Tilly grimaced. "What sort of transformation? It's not like you can transform a human into a cow, or, God forbid, breed a human and a cow." The superior emitted a long-suffering sigh. "I am well aware you were provided with photos and videos, Agent Spencer. Did you not peruse them?" "Of course I did," Tilly snapped. "I just thought it was some sort of porn, and everyone knows that stuff is photoshopped. I mean, there were women hooked up to goat milkers, their teats hanging to the ground. Not only is that obscene, but I would argue that that is a physical impossibility." "Is it?" he asked softly. "Plastic surgeons might argue with that. They have been known to produce women with all sorts of physical anomalies. They transition a man into a woman and vice versa. So why couldn't they transition a human into an animal? or at the very least make them look like one. That's just sick, really sick. No right-thinking man or woman would submit to becoming an animal, she shuddered. I can't believe anyone would go that far. Well, as you've read, we have received reports of at least 12 women currently being transitioned on that farm. One way or another, they have developed udders. They are milked daily and forced to behave as heifers. Then they are abused sexually. Some are used for breeding, and their babies are sold on the black market. Some produce breast milk, which is also sold on the black market. Others are traded freely at private auctions for sexual exploitation. My God, some even moo. Tilly peered through her binoculars. Sir, I'm telling you, all I see down there are cows, and they all appear to be, well, bovine. The man fell silent for a moment. If we can't find sufficient evidence to conduct a raid, we may need to insert you into the process. I suggest you get as close as you can and take a look around. Otherwise, you may be going in as a prospective cow. Tilly gasped. Are you fucking kidding me? There is no way I am going undercover and risk being transitioned into a cow, a pig, or a chicken. You can't ask me to take that risk. Her superior chuckled. Still think it's a myth, Agent Spencer? Tilly felt her blood run cold. She had been asked to do some crazy things and put herself in dangerous, life-threatening situations, but this was unacceptable. Look, I've already gone above and beyond for MI6. I was kidnapped by a sex trafficking ring, and infiltrated a cult and spent 6 months in the Peruvian jungle serving as one of the leaders' sex slaves. And I was a target in that false imprisonment scam at the behest of the Yanks. I was the one who went undercover to rot in a prison. I have performed well in each assignment. I don't deserve this. Did it ever occur to you that Her Majesty has personally requested your services? Again, I might add, it is a matter that requires the utmost discretion. We don't know if this royal is playing out some fantasy as a cow, or has been enslaved and turned into a cow. All of it is unsavoury, and the Queen wants it dealt with. She wants her relative extracted and returned to the human world. We don't know if she's there willingly, but most certainly some sort of psychological rehabilitation will be involved. And if there has been a physical transformation, the Crown will have even more problems. This matter simply cannot be exposed to the public. The rags will have a field day, and the anti-monarchists will use it to prove the royals are unfit to lead due to mental defect, he added. If you fail this could topple the monarchy. Oh, bloody hell, Tilly muttered. So even if I'm buried up to my eyes in pig shite, I need to make sure I come out smelling like a rose? Exactly. Tilly tossed her binoculars on the desk of her superior, Lord Alfred J. Ryder. I saw nothing untoward at the farm, and I got as close as I could without attracting attention. I have asked for hourly satellite sweeps. I couldn't get into the barns and stables. I don't know what else I can do. She plopped down into an armchair and released her long hair from a large barrette, then shook it out and sighed. She was only 30, but after kneeling on the cold ground for hours, she felt more like 50. Her knees were stiff and sore. She needed a long, luxurious bath, the kind her lover, Abdul Ali, was fond of providing. Too bad he was in Morocco investigating the death of their arch-nemesis, Prince Mustafa. Mustafa had been a slave trafficker until he was blown apart by multiple bullets and other forms of munitions. When the Brits were blamed, Abdul had been called in to smooth things over. She was sure the Yanks were behind the Prince of Evil's death. They certainly had good cause. But they had not accepted responsibility. In fact, they had claimed other countries had more reason to assassinate Mustafa, and the press had bought it, running a number of stories analysing the facts and pointing a finger at the Commonwealth. That had put the royal family in the middle of another scandal they could not afford. Tilly sighed. No hot baths awaited her this evening. She stretched her legs. So I guess we wait. Lord Ryder frowned, and his abnormally fluffy white eyebrows waggled. That was not a good thing. The waggle meant he was up to something that usually put Tilly in danger. He opened a drawer and pulled out a large white envelope. Tilly smirked. A wedding invitation, sir? He chuckled. An invitation, yes. A wedding? Not exactly. He handed her the envelope. Tilly gazed at it and read what was inscribed on it. What is l'Académie de Pâturage Humain? I've never heard of it. In English, the Human Pasturage Academy. Pasturage is the process of acquainting domesticated animals, or in this case humans, with grazing. Tilly's eyes rounded. What? They have a school for that? Her superior nodded. I'm afraid so. Not only do they teach humans to graze or otherwise acquire animal characteristics, but they also offer a variety of human husbandry courses. Basically, many of the same techniques taught in animal husbandry, with a twist. Is that even legal? Teaching it? Yes. Executing it? It's illegal only if the human is being forced to participate against their will. Tilly shook her head. What human in their right mind? Lord Ryder clucked his tongue. My, aren't we the intolerant one? Tell me, when Agent Ali had you on a leash while under cover for the Gibraltar affair, how did you feel? Tilly thought back to that mission. Prince Mustafa had called the women he enslaved pets. He had even called them kittens. They were led around on a leash and sometimes were required to crawl on all fours and sit on a pillow at the feet of their master. Some were even fed from bowls set on the floor. Tilly shuddered. Mustafa had kept all of his pets naked, with large tails firmly planted in their arses. It was humiliating and demeaning, and I hated it. And the power exchange, giving up control to someone else? Agent Ali was quite bossy. It was unpleasant. The man smirked. For a headstrong woman like you, I imagine it was. But some women and men actually enjoy giving up control, especially in matters regarding sexual relations and the games they may play in the bedroom. Would it surprise you to learn that pet play is big business? Some people pay a lot of money to keep their human pets in comfort. Diamond collars, gold tails, custom-made cages, grooming amenities. Tilly pursed her lips. I simply cannot imagine allowing anyone to humiliate me like that, or to treat me that way. Their self-esteem must be in the sewer to permit that sort of degradation. Lord Ryder tilted his head and studied her. On the contrary, my dear, some people enjoy being treated like a pampered pet. They enjoy the outward display of affection. They feel appreciated, prized, and valued. It is a boost to their self-esteem. To those who did not receive a lot of affection in their formative years, it's a big boost. He smiled. Again, your prejudices are showing. If you are to enter this world and find Lady Annabel, you must understand and accept their mindset. He paused, his fingers steepled. Or, shall I inform Her Majesty that you have declined the assignment? Damn the man, he knew she would never do anything to displease the Queen. Of course not. I am honoured that she requested my assistance. Then read the invitation in your hands. It is imperative that you attend. Tilly opened the envelope and read the card within. Annual Husbandry Auction, the 29th of June. Please provide code upon acceptance, l'Académie de Pétricage Humain. Her face screwed up in puzzlement. Quite secretive. No time, no place, no means of response. If this fell into the wrong hands, they would simply toss it. Indeed, regular participants know they are to meet at a pre-designated spot for transport after the dinner hour. You will receive the exact time when making your reservation, because if you do not know how to make the reservation, you are not one of their own. Am I to go into this lion's den alone? Not at all. Agent Ali will accompany you. Some aspects of the auction may be offensive to a woman of your discerning tastes. He attempted to squelch his grin, but his blue-grey eyes filled with amusement. Security is tight there. If you display any discomfort at what you see, things could get dicey, and you may be removed from the premises, or worse. Tilly waved her hand at her superior. I've seen women's breasts before. Why would that concern me? The man cleared his throat, his face flushed. They aren't breasts, they are teats, and they need to be physically examined to ensure that they have not been damaged in the milking process. Human cows must also be checked in other orifices for damage and disease. Also, they must be assessed for personality, temperament, breeding, and milk production. It is very technical. They are treated like animals, not humans. To do otherwise would expose you as a fraud. We are told the price of a human cow is based on their animalistic qualities. There may also be a few bulls in the auction, men responsible for breeding the ewe cows. They must be similarly examined. Tilly's face reddened. Suddenly she felt quite queasy. She started to speak, but her superior held up his hand. There's more. This is a human-animal auction. It is not limited to ewe cows. There will be ewe pigs, ewe horses, and maybe even ewe sheep. Fortunately, you are to focus on the cows. That is where we believe Lady Annabel will be found. Tilly gazed at him. What if she isn't there? What if she has changed a species? I suggest you cross that bridge when you come to it. What am I to do if I find Lady Annabel? How do I extract her? You purchase her at the auction. You have been given sufficient funds to build up to €1,000,000. Tilly's eyes grew wide. Criminy, that much? Lord Ryder nodded. These cows are well trained and well treated. The females are pampered, weekly manicures, hair treatments and such. A happy cow is a happy milker, as they say. Tilly's eyes widened. Lady Annabel could be there willingly. She is not necessarily a captive forced to be a Hugh cow? Exactly, and that is our dilemma. While the Queen hopes that she is there willingly, several factors are at play. Lady Annabel may have freely joined a farm to become a Hugh cow, or she may have just danced on the wild side and somehow ended up at auction. In the alternative, she may have been kidnapped and forced to become a Hugh cow, or she may have been forced to now enjoys the lifestyle. There are all sorts of reasons she could be there and all sorts of reasons she prefers to stay. Our only mission is to get her out. Tilly frowned. Why would they put her up for auction? Isn't that a way to get rid of unproductive or uncooperative cows? Not necessarily. Some farms simply raise and train the Hugh cows, then sell them. Given their going rate, it's a lucrative business. A great way to supplement the income from a regular farm. Hugh cows bring much more lucre than actual farm-raised cows. Tilly sighed. For just one day I would like to forget that there are a whole lot of people engaged in activities that far surpass my imagination. Lord Ryder's mouth curved up into a wry smile. Then we would be out of a job. Tilly tapped her jaw, considering. You know this might be a better job for the Yanks. They're a kinky bunch, and I believe there was a recent study that found them to be the kinkiest country in the world. Lord Ryder snorted. If you were the Queen, would you want that bunch of kinksters to know your relatives are participating in like behaviour? Why, their intelligence services would find a way to use it against us for decades. He shook his head. No, this we do alone. I hope you enjoyed the chapter reading and that you'll go check out the book. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.